Sullivan's Crossing Season 3's Cal and Maggie fight makes this plot hole worse. You know when a TV show tries to distract you with drama so you don't notice the glaring holes in the story? Yeah, Sullivan's Crossing just pulled one of the biggest slate of hand moves I've seen in a while. And the wild part, the audience almost bought it. Almost. Because let's be real, Maggie and Cal's relationship has been hanging on by a thread for seasons now. But Season 3, that fight, that massive emotional blow-up, it didn't just tear their relationship apart, it accidentally spotlighted the one plot hole Sullivan's Crossing has been hiding since episode 1. A forbidden truth nobody wants to acknowledge. I'll say it right now, there is no way Cal and Maggie should be living like this, none. Zero. And yet, here they are, sipping coffee, arguing about life choices, somehow affording everything while doing what exactly? But wait, let me backtrack, because you need to feel the absurdity the same way I did. Picture this: you're watching the big fight. Cal, all broody and self-righteous, basically tells Maggie she has to choose. Be a doctor in the city or stay with me in Timberlake. And I'm sitting there like, hold on. Why is this even a choice? Why can't you just move with her? Why can't you both work and live like normal adults? Am I losing my mind, or is Sullivan's Crossing trying to gaslight us into believing financial reality doesn't exist? Here's the thing nobody's saying, and this is where it gets juicy. Cal doesn't have a job, Maggie doesn't have a job, and yet they're somehow living comfortably, eating well, paying for lawyers, and not once do we see a credit card bill. Do you see the problem? It's like the writers thought. Small town magic. They'll just vibe it out, no one will notice. But you noticed. Oh, we noticed. And this is where I've got to stop and ask you, seriously, comment down below because I need to know if I'm the only one losing sleep over this. How on earth are Cal and Maggie affording their lives? Because unless Cal has a secret OnlyFans account or Maggie is running a black market medical side hustle, nothing adds up. And trust me, I've done the math. Let's break this down, deeper style. First, Cal. Our man Cal used to be a hotshot lawyer, right? Respect. But remember, he quit. He left that whole life behind because his wife was sick. And he wanted a fresh start. Totally fair, emotional, heartfelt, except for one massive issue. Lawyers don't exactly stockpile infinite savings, especially not when they're paying off medical treatments. Those bills would have eaten through his account faster than a Netflix subscription eats through your weekend. And yet, here he is, seasons later, living like his bank account is bottomless. If anything, he should be applying for part-time work at the Timberlake grocery store by now, and I don't say that to roast him. Okay, maybe a little. But because it's the reality the show refuses to address. Then there's Maggie. Oh boy. Maggie is supposed to be this brilliant young doctor in training, except she's not working, not in the city, not in Timberlake, not anywhere. And this isn't just some take a little break situation. She's literally gone 3 seasons without a paycheck. Tira y CISOs. You know how much debt med school leaves you with. Let me just say, it's not the kind of thing you shake off by brewing coffee at Sully's campground. And don't even get me started on her trial. Lawyers aren't cheap. Unless she found some miraculous friends and family discount, those bills alone should have sent her into financial ruin. And yet, Maggie's biggest problem isn't debt. It's deciding whether to stay in Timberlake or head back to the city. Like, girl, where's your rent money coming from? Who's paying your student loans? Am I supposed to believe Cal's handyman work at the campground is covering both of you? Please. Sully's not exactly handing out 6-figure salaries in exchange for fixing broken pipes. And this, my friends, is the forbidden knowledge Sullivan's Crossing doesn't want you thinking about. They've built a whole emotional story around Maggie and Cal's love struggle, but beneath it, it's hollow. It's built on air. Their fight about the city vest. The small town isn't just melodrama, it's a smokescreen to cover up the fact that financially, none of this makes sense. Now maybe you're thinking, Sophia, come on, it's TV. Suspend disbelief. And hey, fair point. But let me hit you with this Virgin River. The show Sullivan's Crossing is constantly compared to, actually deals with money. People in Virgin River talk about bills, jobs, the cost of living. It grounds the drama in reality. Meanwhile, Sullivan's Crossing acts like Timberlake is some magical utopia where the economy doesn't exist. Which brings me to the burning question. How long can Sullivan's Crossing keep ignoring this? Because sooner or later, it's gonna break the show. Cal's savings will run out. Maggie's bills will come due. And when that happens, what then? Let me loop this back to their fight, because here's where it gets spicy. When Cal told Maggie she had to choose between him and her career, what he was really saying was, I can't face reality, so I need you to live in my fantasy with me. And that's the forbidden truth the writers didn't intend to expose. Think about it: if Maggie chooses Cal, she's choosing a future where money doesn't exist, where bills never come due, where they can live forever in small town bliss. And if she chooses her career, well then she's choosing reality. And Cal doesn't want reality, he wants Timberlake, he wants the fantasy. And suddenly, the fight isn't just about love, it's about whether Sullivan's Crossing can survive its own logic. Now before I dive into the deeper implications, and trust me, it gets darker, let me pause here, because if you're still watching and nodding along, clearly you love this kind of forbidden breakdown as much as I do. And that means you need to hit that subscribe button right now for Breakdown Epic. That's where we go deeper every single time, uncovering the secrets these shows don't want you to notice. Okay, back to the chaos. Because here's the wildest part. Even if Maggie does go back to practicing medicine in Timberlake, it only solves Aelf the problem. Half. She might finally bring in a paycheck. But what about Cal? He's still floating through life like his savings are eternal. Are we supposed to believe handyman work is paying for everything? Or is Sully secretly covering their bills as some kind of benevolent sugar daddy? I mean, come on. Even Gilmore Girls, yes, Gilmore Girls, handled money better than this. Lorelai literally worked 2 jobs to support Rory, and the whole class divide thing was a massive part of the drama. Meanwhile, Sullivan's Crossing is out here like, bills, never heard of them. Debt, doesn't exist here. And that's where the tension builds, because unless season 4 fixes this, Sullivan's Crossing risks collapsing under its own contradictions. They've written themselves into a corner. If Maggie and Cal stay in Timberlake, they'll have to answer the money question eventually. If they move to the city, the show loses its entire premise. It's a catch-22. So the real mystery isn't, will Maggie and Cal make it work? The real mystery is, how will Sullivan's Crossing keep pretending financial reality doesn't exist without breaking the story? And I don't know about you, but I can't stop thinking about it. Okay, so let's pretend for a second that Sullivan's Crossing decides to just never address this problem. That Cal and Maggie keep living their small town fantasy, and nobody ever brings up money again. Do you know what happens then? The show becomes a parody of itself. Imagine future seasons where Cal is still fixing fences for free, and Maggie is still staring off dramatically into the lake while not paying student loans. Eventually, even the most devoted fans are going to snap and say, hold up, are these people living in Narnia? And that's the danger. Because once the audience stops believing, the drama loses its power. You can give us secret husbands, shocking fights, love triangles, surprise pregnancies, heck throw in an alien invasion at this point. But if we don't buy the foundation, none of it sticks. And let me just ask this, am I the only one who feels personally attacked watching Cal act like savings are infinite? Like, bro, I check my bank account after buying Starbucks and I'm sweating. Meanwhile, this man has been unemployed for over a year, casually building birdhouses, and we're supposed to believe he's fine. Actually, quick poll. Drop your answer in the comments. What do you think Cal's real money source is? A. Secret trust fund. B. Sully's paying him under the table. C. Illegal maple syrup empire. D. The writers just don't care. I'm leaning toward option D, but I need to know where you stand. And this is where the show accidentally created its own meme potential. Because now every time Maggie and Cal argue, I can't take it seriously. When Cal says, we can't live in the city, all I hear is, I can't afford rent. When Maggie says, I need to work, I hear, girl, Sally Mae is calling, and they don't care about your Timberlake fairy tale. See what I mean? Once the illusion cracks, everything feels different. Now I know some of you will say, Sophia, maybe Cal was just super thrifty. Maybe he saved millions back in his lawyer days. And sure, if you want to believe he's some legal Gordon Ramsay of frugality, be my guest. But let's not forget, his wife's medical treatments would have drained a huge chunk of that money. Realistically, he'd be scraping by, not chilling lakeside with zero stress. And Maggie, please, she barely even started her medical career. No way she had enough time to build a financial cushion. In fact, she should still be drowning in debt. You think Timberlake Bank is forgiving those loans because she smiled at them? No chance. But here's the kicker. And this is where the forbidden knowledge comes in. Sullivan's Crossing didn't just ignore money. It weaponized the absence of money as a way to keep the drama focused. Think about it, if Maggie and Cal actually had to deal with real bills, medical debt, or job stress, their romance would implode instantly. And maybe the writers knew that. Maybe they thought, better to pretend money doesn't exist than risk breaking the fantasy. That's sneaky. That's calculated. That's the secret they don't want you to notice. Now, let's do a little hypothetical. Imagine if season 4 finally addressed this. Maggie goes back to work as a doctor, great. But Cal, he either has to get a job in Timberlake, where there's no demand for a big city lawyer, or admit he has no plan and is just coasting. Either way, the drama shifts. Suddenly, their relationship isn't just about love, it's about class ambition and survival. That could actually make Sullivan's Crossing better. It could give it that grounded tension Virgin River already has. But do we really think the writers are brave enough to go there? I'll be honest, I doubt it. And here's why this show thrives on melodrama, not realism. It wants you crying over secret husbands, not calculating mortgage payments. But sooner or later, the weight of this plot hole is going to crush the story. Now, because I love you all and because we like to get personal here, let me roast myself for a second. I complain about Cal's non-existent savings, but meanwhile, I once spent my entire monthly budget on iced lats and Funko Pops. So maybe I'm not one to talk. But still, at least I admit when I'm broke. Cal's out here pretending he invented passive income. And look, I don't want to sound like I'm just hating. I genuinely enjoy Sullivan's Crossing. That's why this bugs me so much. Because the heart of the show, the characters, the setting, the emotional stakes, it's strong. But when you ignore reality this badly, it chips away at the story's integrity. You know what this reminds me of? That one friend who always says they're broke, but somehow goes on vacation twice a year. Like, where is that money coming from? Are they selling organs on the side? That's Maggie and Cal in a nutshell. So let me loop back with a question for you. Would you rather Sullivan's Crossing stay in its fantasy bubble, or do you want season 4 to finally bring in financial reality? Be honest. Because if you're like me, you probably want both. You want the soapy drama and the grounded realism. But can the show actually balance that? And here's where I'll drop a callback. Remember when we talked about Maggie's ridiculous secret husband twist? Yeah, Liam. That whole storyline already pushed the show to its limits of believability. Add this financial black hole on top of that, and you've got a recipe for a show that risks collapsing under its own weight. The irony. They don't even need a secret husband to create tension. Real-life money problems would be enough. That's relatable. That's heartbreaking. That's the drama people actually feel in their bones. Instead, we got a fight that made no sense, over choices that weren't even logical. And the wildest part, season 4 can only solve about half of this. Maggie might finally go back to practicing medicine, which gives her income, but Cal, he's still floating. Unless the writers suddenly give him a secret job, a random inheritance, or, my personal favorite theory, a maple syrup cartel, this problem isn't going away. Let me make a bold prediction. If Sullivan's Crossing doesn't deal with this head on in season 4, it's going to alienate a big chunk of its audience. People can forgive melodrama, but they can't forgive being treated like they're dumb. So, what happens next? Well, here's my theory. Season 4 will throw us another shocking twist, because that's their pattern. Maybe Maggie's career takes a nosedive. Maybe Cal's past comes back to haunt him. Maybe Liam sticks around longer than expected. But underneath it all, the money question will still loom, and every scene will feel just a little less real because of it. And honestly, that's the forbidden knowledge I can't unsee. So, let me end this with a bit of humor because we've been heavy. Sullivan's Crossing should just rebrand itself as a Hallmark Christmas movie, where nobody pays bills, everyone has infinite savings, and all problems are solved with one dramatic kiss in the snow. At least then the lack of money would make sense. But until then, I'll be here, watching, analyzing, roasting, and waiting for the day Cal finally applies for a real job. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your wildest theories in the comments. How do Cal and Maggie actually pay their bills? I'll feature the funniest, craziest ones in the next breakdown. Don't hold back, go full conspiracy. And hey, if you've stuck around this long, you already know what time it is. This is Sophia, this is Breakdown Epic, and if you want more forbidden knowledge, more secrets the writers don't want you thinking about, then stay tuned. Because trust me, we're only just getting started.